500
Amazing.
people signed up to be a liver donor. Georgetown said that we had never received that many people to ever be donors. And then everything that could go wrong went wrong also with Nusayba. They said we've tried. World's worst, I told you so, Danielle. Happy Friday, everyone. We are live. This is Friday's Democracy-ish. Usually, we have the nice little studio, but
I know.
Danielle is smart, and she has decided at the perfect time to leave the United States of America so she's not killed by ICE. And she's sitting there in this other country that I won't mention, safe, with good health care, having some tasty food. Uh,
Good
Her
healthcare.
skin's getting better. She's just sitting there. She doesn't even smoke, just looking at what's happening in the United States. Like, my God. But I decided to do something a bit different. Before we get into the horrific news, as Danielle said, the mustard seeds of hope. So I'm going to give three
Mm-hmm.
little mustard seeds of hope to make us feel a little bit better on this Friday before we talk about how the Trump administration wants to murder us, for lack of subtlety. And the first mustard seed of hope is this is the sixth anniversary of my 9-year-old daughter Nusayba ringing the bell, which means that she was declared cancer-free at that time, and she is the recipient of what was once an anonymous liver donor, a man who gave a piece of his liver to a girl he had never met. Later, we found out that was Sean Zahir, a man who just Danielle lived 15 minutes away from us. Over 500
Amazing.
people signed up to be a liver donor. Georgetown said that we had never received that many people to ever be donors. And then everything that could go wrong went wrong also with Nusayba. They said, we've tried this many people. There are no matches, to the point where I remember the Georgetown administrator looked at me one time with tears in her eyes. And she says, Nusayba's face dances around my head. I can't get it out of her. My head. I have to we have to save this girl. And after setback, we had an anonymous donor. We had a donor. Everything was ready to go. At the last second, Dr. Fishbein said, I just don't feel comfortable. And all the other doctors said, no, just go for it. And he just he had a spidey sense, Danielle. And he's like,
Yeah.
and it was like a gut punch. Literally, we were like, I'll never forget. My wife and I were like, oh my God. So we gave ourselves, pardon me for saying this, Danielle. I don't worry, we'll get into the show, but I hope this is, my wife and I remember I told my wife, I'll give us a day. Today we can be depressed. Today we can be angry at the universe. Today we can collect our breath. I mean, we were ready to go, Danielle. Can you imagine that? Like for 6
Yeah.
months, stage
No.
4 cancer. My daughter, I don't know if she's going to live. We need a full liver transplant. We had the donor. We raised the funds. We got Airbnb or whatever hotel for them. And at the last second, 2 days before, the doctor said, nah. And then we're like, what's going to happen? I told my wife, one day, we get this one day. Then tomorrow we get back and we fight. Couple of days later, Georgetown calls us and says, anonymous donor, can you bring her in 2 days? We're like, yes. Go there. It's supposed to be like a 9-hour surgery. The doctor comes out after 3 hours and we're like, hey man, aren't you supposed to be in the operating room? He's like, oh, it's pretty much done. And then we talked to all the nurses and we talked to the other transplant doctor, and they said that was the easiest surgery that they have seen
Oh,
in their
wow.
entire career. They said, their words, it's as if the universe gave your daughter the perfect liver that matched up, how it everything just matched up
Yeah.
perfectly. And then I'll end on this is that there's two doctors, right? So Dr. Fishbein is the main doctor, but then there's also the doctor that operates on Sean, who's the anonymous donor. And I met him, and this guy who's done hundreds of these surgeries, this grown man starts crying, and he goes, I just need you to know you have a good man's liver in your daughter. And I said, why? He says, you know what the first question is when people wake up from the surgery? I said, I'm assuming if they're okay. He goes, that's right. Am I okay? When can I go back to work? You know, the first thing that this man asked, and I said, tell me, when can I donate again? And then he starts crying and he goes, you just have a good
Wow.
man. You have a good man's liver in your daughter. And folks, I had no idea, Danielle, the liver grows back within a year. If you're the
Yeah.
donor and an adult, the liver grows back. And now his small piece of liver has been growing inside my daughter for 6 years. So she's 9 years old. She's cancer free. She's a little diva. She dances. Some good news.
I love this.
If everything looks bleak, folks, which it did for us, my wife and I kept saying, well, we're gonna invest in a better story. I don't see the end. The pages keep turning, and we'll just keep fighting. And voila, she is alive, and we're very lucky. So that's one big piece of good news. I wanted to start off
That
with
is
that note.
amazing good news. Congratulations to her and you and your wife and the entire family. That's just like, yeah, when you lose faith, that is a really, really great reminder.
Yeah, because we could have easily said. I remember when I first found out, I was about to give a TED talk, folks. I was preparing to give a TED talk, a massive TED talk, and my wife called me. And my wife never cries. And I was in Vancouver, and she was like, it was like 3 a.m. And I'm like, what's up? And she goes, Nusayba, there's bumps on her stomach. Oh, she probably ate something. And she's like, no, I'm at the ER. I'm like, you're at the ER? Did she eat? What did she eat? She goes, I think it's cancer. I'm like, what? I just left you 2 days ago, right? And I remember at that time, when you hear something like that, you ask God or the universe, why me? And you never get a response, Danielle. You never get a response. And speaking about losing hope, once you ask why me, it becomes quicksand because there's no answer. And so, what we were really lucky, my wife and I, is we replaced why me with what now? And that what now kind of saved us mentally and spiritually because, all right, like what can we control? And
Yeah.
I'm a dad. I'm an English major. I was so ignorant when my wife said stage 4 cancer. Danielle, I said, "Is that one of the good stages?" And she goes, "That's the worst stage." I don't know. And then she's like,
You're like, is the highest one the best?
"Yeah, it's like DEFCON 5 is better than DEFCON 1." And she goes, "No, that's terrible."
No.
So it was all over her liver, and there was a spot in her lung. And then my wife said she needs a full liver transplant. And I was so ignorant because I didn't know this. I'm like, what moron will give their liver and kill themselves? And my wife's like, no, no, no. An adult can be a live liver donor, give a small piece of the liver. I had no idea, folks, which is why I'll end. Thank you for indulging me. I'll end on this with this appeal. People talk about kidney donors, live liver donors. It's a real thing. So if you're an adult and you give a piece of your liver grows back, and then you save a life, and that liver goes into the girl. And as a result of Nusayba's story and the power of storytelling, I was on CNN at the time. I'm like, what can I do, Danielle? I say this because people say this to us all the time. I'm nobody. What can I do? I get this question all the
Yeah.
time. So I was the same way. I'm like, I'm an English major. I'm not a doctor. My blood type didn't match. I was so useless. I couldn't even save my daughter by giving her my kidney. So I said, I ain't going to go out without a fight. I'll be damned if my daughter dies anonymous or as a statistic. At the very least, I'll share her story. Maybe it'll save her life. At the very least, maybe people will find out about being liver donors. Maybe, inshallah, it'll inspire someone else. So over 500 people ended up being potential donors. Sean Zahir was the lucky guy. And now, fast forward 6 years, and I promise I'll end on this. I get emails. I got an email in the summer from a woman in the Midwest who said she heard Nusayba's story, decided to sign up to be a liver donor. She matched, and it was in the local paper.
Amazing.
And there are a couple of people now who've signed up to be donors, kidney donors and liver donors, as a result of listening to Nusayba's stories, and lives have been saved. I'm done. Sorry.
The power of storytelling. It's important. It's incredible, and I can't, and I'm not a parent, but I'm certain that the parents that are watching, you've lived through many people's worst nightmares, right? And the ability to give an alternative perspective on how to move forward in times of darkness yeah, you guys are incredible.
I married up. And there's and I think we need that type of, a community came together, to be honest. You can't do it alone, right? It's science. It was insurance. I always say this, I'm a Muslim, so I say God is great. But also my wife and I say we had insurance through my wife. We had health care. We had
Yeah.
access to scientific research because stage 4 cancer and in a then 2-year-old hepatoblastoma, it's so rare, Danielle, that 10 years ago, I don't know if Nusayba would have survived, to the point where they said, can we
Mm.
keep her liver to research on it? We said, go ahead, we donate the liver. Um, a community that came together people who came together to help out my son, babysit, people who donated DoorDash and Uber Eats, which were lifesavers. We raised $100,000 because that's the money that we needed in addition to having insurance just to survive and not be bankrupt. And that people, it was a community that saved this girl's life. And so in moments of tragedy, this is where our worst angels and our best angels are summoned.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
with that transition, I think about that right now, and because I was thinking about this because I totally forgot until someone reminded me, like yesterday. I'm like, oh my god, it's a 6-year anniversary. Is a crisis can bring about a change. It could bring about an opportunity. And my transition to what we're witnessing right now is, I believe, Danielle, and let's see,
Mm-hmm.
the Trump administration's state-sanctioned murder
Mm-hmm.
of Renee Nicole Good, a
Mm-hmm.
37-year-old mother who dropped off her 6-year-old kid who had stuffed animals in her SUV. I know a lot of people say America's too apathetic. No one's going to care. And I remember that day, I think it was 2 days ago, we haven't talked about it. It just stayed in my mind. And I'm like, I don't think so, Danielle. Sometimes all it takes is a spark. And less than a mile from where she was killed, George Floyd was
Was
murdered.
killed. Yeah.
And it inspired the largest protest in U.S. history. Your response to the murder of Renee Nicole Good?
It has been weighing so heavy on me. Yesterday, I posted, and I very rarely, you're an English major. I used to write a lot of poetry when I was younger, right? It was just like, angst. I get it out of you. But I could not get the story, the images out of my head. And so I wrote a poem and I posted it on the Damn Digest yesterday. And it's just and I started off with saying that, Black people in this country have been warning America about itself for centuries. Black people in this country have been telling America about the state sanctioned violence and how eventually, that it was not just going to target Black people, but eventually white supremacy, as we say, is self destructive and will come for others, right? Will come for the white community that it says that it's there to protect. So when you see, right, and again, this happened during the spring of 2017 when Heather Heyer was murdered during Charlottesville, right? And we say, my God, what can be done? And I said it when, a classroom of children were murdered in Newtown. And we say, like, is white America really going to sit by and allow a classroom of suburban middle class children to be murdered and like change no fucking laws? And so the depravity of this administration, and their willingness to lie about what we're all seeing with our eyes, is a continued escalation about what Black people have been saying about this country that could never go viral, right? Because it was never covered. Those people, I mean, we learn by the virtue of Renee Nicole Good's murder that Keith Porter, a Black man, was murdered on New Year's Eve by an off-duty ICE agent. No one had been talking about that. And it was because Black person, and we know what we think about Black stories, and two, because it wasn't on camera. And so what we have always known is that when it's a Black person's word or Black community's word against white systemic domestic violence, whose word do they take?
That's
And
right.
so what I'm getting to is that to listen to these government officials stand before you, from Kristi Noem to JD Vance to Donald Trump, utter the same lines that they have told Black people to justify the murder of Black people, and use the same fucking language. The officer feared for his life. She's a domestic terrorist. She has been, radicalized. Oh, she was, using her car as a weapon, right? Like, these are the things that we were told. We were told that about Trayvon Martin. Oh, he seemed dangerous, a 16-year-old kid because he was wearing a hood during the rain. Oh, we see Tamir Rice, 12-year-old boy, was playing on a playground with a toy gun. They drove by, police shot him dead. Sandra Bland didn't signal on a highway, right? And they're like, well, she was mouthing off to the officer, and why don't they just follow the rules? So when you see the same lies that have been used to justify Black death and murder over the course of centuries now be used to justify the murder of a white American mother, it's like, hello, we all saw it, right? Like we all fucking saw it. We saw every goddamn angle. And y'all are just standing up in front of us telling us to ignore the evidence of our eyes and believe the fucking lies that are coming out of your mouth. To listen to JD Vance talk about Renee Nicole Smith as if she was some type of fucking like sleeper cell terrorist in the middle of Minneapolis just waiting to spring into action. I like, my God, the sociopathy and psychopathic nature that is coupled inside of white supremacy and white nationalist thinking is something that is absolutely extraordinary and should be fucking studied. Because the way that that man stood up there and then followed it up by saying that they're going to be directing ICE agents to go door to door to door, right? Yep. Like the fucking brown shirts in Nazi Germany. And we're all just like, take these motherfuckers at their word because they're telling you that they don't care. And now 2 more people shot in Portland, Oregon. I mean, it's extraordinary. And I still say I don't know what is going to get Americans to be in the streets and stay in the streets, but having your government lie to your face so easily, so thoroughly should be enough.
No, very good points. And, I'll put it simply that the war on terror has come home, like we warned about for the past 24 years. ICE was created in the aftermath of America's disastrous decision to do the war on terror, thanks to 19 foreign hijackers who brought down the 2 towers and attacked the Pentagon. We attacked Iraq. Afghanistan under bullshit pretenses, weapons of mass destruction. We created the Department of Homeland Security. We created the Patriot Act. We created ICE. It's not some institution that's been around, folks, since the 19th century. This country has no problem destroying the Department of Education, no problem destroying USAID. But for some reason, we can't touch ICE, Danielle, even though it's like, 23 years old. And what the rest of us said, especially those of us who are Muslim, brown, Black, Native American, because this has happened to our communities, but especially in the war on terror for my communities, and for anyone who grew up, we were on that age, we were marching, we were warning. We said, you are essentially giving the United States government a loaded weapon to be turned around and used against U.S. citizens. You have voluntarily given up your freedoms for the feeling of safety.
Yep.
Which is what white supremacy does. We want to feel great again, so we're going to vote for Donald Trump, who's going to beat up our alleged enemies, and that gives us a temporary sugar high, right? That gives us a little boner as we go in and replace Venezuela's leaders and engage in an illegal coup. Don't we feel good? Thump your chest, and we remove Saddam Hussein's statue. What's the blowback? What's the repercussions, right? The repercussions are that ICE is now being weaponized as Donald Trump's Gestapo to engage in state-sanctioned violence. If you think I'm being hyperbolic, you weren't paying attention to Danielle. Literally, we have seen from multiple camera angles that has now been audited by multiple news agencies that Renee Nicole Good was an unarmed 30s. I always say this, Danielle, I say this for a reason.
Yep.
37-year-old white mother. I stress that white mother very deliberately. I saw the video. She tells the car to pass. The car passes, she brakes. She waits for the car to pass. One ICE agent says, go, go, go. Another one says, get out, get out, get out. She reverses the car. She turns away. The murderer was not touched in any way, shape, or form. He is literally, this is the car. This is his body. It doesn't touch. He takes out his gun. Doesn't fire a warning shot. Doesn't threaten her. Doesn't shoot out the tires. I don't know. If I was a cop, I'd just go like this. Dug, dug, dug. Hey, hey, I said stop. That's what's happened to me before. Sometimes when they want to get your attention, like, hey, 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 hey. He fires in the driver's side window, killing her. We all saw it. Before the body was cold, Donald Trump, the president, like friggin' Big Brother in 1984, lies to us to our face, straight up engages in propaganda, says that she violently ran over the cop who
And I'm
might
surprised he's still alive, is what
medical
Donald Trump followed that up with. Uh-huh.
medical marvel. Medical marvel. This
Yep.
man has to be studied. I mean, my God, he was violently run over even though no one saw it, and he casually then walked to the vehicle that he just helped make crash because he shot Renee Good, and then he casually walked to his car and drove away. May everyone who's violently run over by a car heal like this. Then Kristi Noem, folks, I'm just bringing the facts. Kristi Noem, DHS secretary, calls Renee Nicole Good a domestic terrorist
Yep.
who and says she weaponized her car and was trained to do this. And the reason why that's so important is on this show, Democracy Issue, we have tried to tell people exactly what Danielle has said. We have recited Niemöller's poem again and again and again. At
Yep.
first they came
Yep.
for it, and then they came for it, and then they came for it. And we kept saying, white America, fascists come for everyone. In September, they said Antifa was the terrorist group. In September, we saw in the National Security Presidential Memo 7, where Donald Trump has directed the entire agency, the entire government to go after radical left-wing terrorism. Some of the indicators of radical left-wing terrorism are anti-American, anti-Christian rhetoric. Well, you saw that in action with Kristi Noem openly saying she was trained to weaponize her car. Then you saw JD Vance yesterday call her a deranged leftist. He said, we're going to send ICE door to door. And furthermore, he doesn't know the law. He should give his money back to Yale, or Yale should give him back his money. He said, this officer has complete immunity, which means the vice president is openly telling Americans unauthorized, masked, armed ICE agents can unlawfully murder you, and we have given them complete immunity. And furthermore, we're going to take this Gestapo and unleash them door to door to door. And even if you are a white woman with a child, you're not safe. And as Danielle was saying, weapons of mass destruction to justify
Yep.
these. Black people simply existing. He was resisting arrest. How come he didn't listen to the officer? Mike Brown, the 15-year-old. You know what they said? Oh my God, he was like Hulk Hogan. Trayvon Martin. Oh, he was bigger than how he appeared. Breonna Taylor. Did you know her boyfriend was a drug dealer? This has been Native Americans. They resisted arrest, which is why we had to go in and massacre all the indigenous Americans and break our treaties. The Japanese Americans, we think they might be a subversive element during World War II, which is why we have to invoke the Alien Enemies Act and intern them. And later it found out no evidence. Now it's happening to white America, Danielle. And I ask you, do you think white America is finally going to wake up?
I don't know. I gotta honestly say, I'm not sure. I don't know how many more incidents we need. I mean, again, what is today? Today is
January 9th.
January 9th. It is January 9th. We are 9 days, a week and a few days into this new year. We have now experienced neocolonialism and an invasion of a country, kidnapping of a president, murder of an American citizen. We have watched now Minneapolis, just put it this way, following this horrific murder, has had to shut schools down for the remainder of the week because of the fear of the federal government attacking students, which was recorded on camera as ICE agents went to a high school tackling and throwing children up against the wall. So school is canceled because of the federal government's Gestapo. I want folks to really fucking understand that. Right? So I think I don't know. I don't know how many and unfortunately the other piece of this is we know of over 30 people in ICE detention that have been murdered.
Yep.
Keith Porter, who was the man in LA on December 31st who was shot and killed by an off-duty ICE agent during a New Year's Eve celebration, whose name was only surfaced because of the murder of Renee Nicole Good. It's 9 days. So I don't know how many more of these we can take. I don't know how many more of these weeks that we can take. But Waj, again, as I watch the protests that are happening in Iran and them taking over the cities and the provinces, as we watch the Nepalese, Gen Z take over their government and turn and force parliament to resign. These things do happen, right? But they happen with consistency. They happen with continued frustration and passion and an understanding that you deserve better than what this institution is doing. And I know that we're going to get to it, but you also have the jobs numbers, right? These bullshit numbers that come out. And I'm like, how are you even trusting anything that comes out? You shouldn't.
Or even
right, unless there's an independent organization that comes out and says, oh, based on our data and information, here are the jobs numbers. I'm like, they're fucking lying to you. You have Mayor Jacob Fry, who's like, your government is lying to you. He has an op-ed right in the New York Times today. The government is lying to you. So we're going to believe jobs numbers. We're going to believe the CDC and the recommendations coming out of HHS from the lunatic Kennedy. So I'm just again, I don't know what it's going to take, but this should be it. I mean, we should have reached our breaking point, I would say, a long time ago, but my God. But like I said, when we were willing to, as a nation, to allow a classroom of children to be murdered over and over and over and over again and did nothing but send prayers, I am ye of little faith right now.
This is America. I know people always say, and Joe Biden and other folks have always said, is usually not always people who are affluent, people who are somewhat privileged, and or people who are white, who have often said, this is not who America is. And then you hear poor people of all ethnicities, Black people, indigenous people, Latinos, Asians, Muslims say, no, this is America. And I've always said that Donald Trump is as American as apple pie, rape, and slavery. He is the manifestation of America's greed, white supremacy, and misogyny. He's not the sole representative. He's not the representative, but he is a representative. You have the Statue of Liberty welcoming immigrants like my parents and your parents, and then you have Donald Trump trying to grab her by the pussy. That is America, folks. It's always been that way. And the rest of us have always tried to fight to make America into the country it professes to be, to stretch America to be generous and expansive, right? White people in this country who are now considered white, were not considered white. I always want to remind you, if you are Italian American, every single thing that they are saying about folks, everything that they're saying about Somalis and Haitians, they said about Italians. I did this research on Islamophobia 14 years ago, and we found in the 1920s what they used to say about Italians and Jews. You just replace Jew, Italian in the 19th century, replace Catholic, Irish, and put in Muslim. Fifth column, they'll never integrate, inherently violent, criminal. They will outbreed the native population, right? Which just shows you it's all a myth. White supremacy is a myth. It's a delusional, violent fantasy of fragile people, right? People who want power, people who want land, people who want money. It was created in the United States of America. White, rich landowners, non-white, everybody else. To the point where even the poor whites weren't white until they became white because they had the melanin for the protection. And then you see people like Black folks who've been in this country longer than the Irish or longer than the Italians, and they still aren't considered American, right? And so now you have a white supremacist regime, and folks, call it that. Who else would use the word remigrate, which is a white nationalist term for ethnic cleansing, not once, not twice, but 3 times tweeted from the DHS account? They're telling you the plot. And what we've always said is white people or those who think they have the complexion for the protection, or those fellow brown people, I'm speaking about my own community, who voted for Donald Trump for the tax cuts, who wanted to go after the
Yep.
trans because they thought it was gross, who drive a Tesla and drink rosé with Karen and golf with Chet. And Chet says, "You're the good one." And you say, "I am the good one." Why can't the rest of them be like you? I don't know, Chet. They're just lazy. And who look down upon the Latinos and black folks and who lifted up the same ladder that brought them to this country. Told you so, number one. And number two, and I'm talking to JD Vance's family. JD Vance's family, and I'm not talking to JD Vance. Your family looks a lot like me.
Yep.
And if we're out and about and there's ICE and these thugs that they've now recruited, they're going to look at your family. They're going to look at me. They're going to, and it doesn't matter that they're related to you because what they're going to see is the enemy, the invader. That's what bigotry does. And this mother effer, I think why JD Vance is the worst of the worst. First of all, you know he has no courage in his convictions. You know he's changed his opinion more times than he's changed his name. You know he's the one who hated Donald Trump, but then all of a sudden became Trump's lackey. You know Peter Thiel has groomed him his entire career and put him there to help the oligarchy. He is married to a Hindu American woman. He has two biracial kids, one of them whose name is Vivek, and his brown immigrant Indian Hindu family has welcomed him as their own, and he just yesterday threw them all under the bus just to get power. That guy is the worst piece of shit in America. What do
I
you say
think
to a
that
man like that, Danielle?
yeah, I think that he is wildly dangerous, right? Which is what we see because I mean, my God, you almost have more like give more credit to somebody who has always been a racist, who has always been a piece of shit, who is always like this is who I am, than somebody that changes their opinion and their positions and their values with the wind or whoever throws enough money at them. He's a hooker, right? Like he honestly is. He's a whore for white supremacy because he
Now,
had
Danielle,
Peter
go
Thiel as
old
his
school, not just a hooker, but a two-bit.
hoe. Oh, a two-bit hooker. You know my favorite, a two-bit hooker. That you're like, Peter Thiel threw money at him and he said, how would you like me to dance for you? Right? And so you look at this man and if Donald Trump at any point in time, right? Like over the next, doesn't finish out his 3 years. If for some reason Donald Trump goes down or is, whatever, you will see a whole different JD Vance. The JD Vance that you're seeing right now, the cosplaying tough JD Vance, is not the one that you're going to see moving forward. Right. And so he is doing his best to be, and I'm like, I almost think that he gets off stage and he gets off camera and he's like, did I do good? Do you think Trump liked it? Do you think I seem tough? Like, should I do it like this next time? Like that, it's all an act for him. Right. And that's what makes him that's what to me makes him more pathetic and disgusting than the rest of them.
And he's probably like, what did Erica think? Did she like it? Did she notice I'm doing push-ups?
Oh, you know that she probably text him right away. You look so great, so presidential.
Erica has grieved in a way that I've never seen a widow grieve before. It's almost like she grieves in eyeliner and with sparkles. It is fascinating. I've never seen a more lucrative grieving process than what Erica Kirk has gone through, Danielle.
I mean, I think it's extraordinary. Like to grieve on tour, who would have thunk it, right? Like I never would have thought to myself, uh, let me milk this for as much as I can. But she's just like, yes, I'm grieving, and I should grieve in every state with every kind of spandex and every type of pyrotechnics possible. Like the bigger the pyrotechnics, the bigger her pain of the loss of her husband. It's a real. I mean, wow.
Hold on one second, Danielle. Your words just inspired.
I know
Sorry. Okay, I'm better. And this,
you're
by the way,
better.
folks, is a lactate pill. I have thousands of these because once you're 40, you become lactose intolerant. This is what happens to all Asians. It's the curse of, it's how God made our life a little bit more difficult. So if you come into my house, you'll see these everywhere, and my wife like loses her mind. It's like chapsticks, my version of chapsticks. There's thousands everywhere. I don't even apologize. I don't even apologize. But it's also a great prop for me to just go like this sometimes. I
Yeah.
was so moved. I was so moved by what Danielle said. Danielle, in addition to what's happening, let's talk about what's happening abroad because Donald Trump hasn't stopped. Another
Oh
piece of
no.
a little piece of good news, and this is what. Well, let me put it this way: it's only 9 days in. Let's see what happens. But there's overreach, folks. I don't buy these numbers. Also, I don't believe anything what the government says. I had two doctors on yesterday. I'm going to have the conversation up this weekend. Exactly what Danielle said. These are two ER doctors, Dr. Rob Davidson, Dr. Ford. Fantastic conversation. They answered a lot of your questions. They said, "Yeah, we doctors are telling you not to trust the CDC. Economists are saying
Yeah.
we cannot trust the government because the government doesn't release the data." Donald Trump fired Dr. McCanterfer, who is the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, because he didn't like the job numbers. Even right now, today, as Danielle said, if you haven't seen the news, they're like, it's modest growth. Uh, I don't buy it. And even if it is still modest growth, job numbers added, stock market's going great, people don't perceive it. That's the one thing you can't BS people about what's in their wallet, right? So if you look at the latest poll numbers, he is negative double digits in the 20s, negative on inflation, on the economy, on the trade war. They could say whatever they want, Danielle. People ain't buying it. He's negative double digits on healthcare. He's negative double digits on immigration because he's overreached. My prediction is a large swath of America, even moderates, conservatives, independents, they see a white woman killed and then they see this cover up. And literally, folks, another thing we didn't mention, there is a cover up. The FBI is not working with Minnesota police, and the Minnesota police has been denied access. If there was nothing to hide, why would they be engaging in a cover up? And speaking about cover ups, we have not forgotten. Trust me, folks, we have not forgotten it. Left Hook hasn't forgotten it. Damn Digest hasn't forgotten it. Our allies haven't forgotten it. He is negative 30 on the Epstein files. And those Epstein
Oh
files, it's
yes.
going to be drip,
Remember
drip, drip, drip.
those?
It's going to be drip, 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 drip. And two things can happen at the same time, Danielle. He can further hit the Broligarchy's white nationalist agenda to drink the world's milkshake and distract. A week ago, the same day in which the DOJ was supposed to give an explanation why they redacted those files, that day, he decided to attack Venezuela. And
Right.
now, and now, they are. Do you see yesterday where he's threatening Mexico?
Yes, threatening Mexico, threatening Colombia. He said he had a long, so during his, and we didn't talk about it yet, during his 2 hour interview with the New York Times, where he basically said that he doesn't have to follow he doesn't have to follow international law. He follows the morality that's in his heart, and that he will go as far as his morality will allow him to go. In that meeting with the New York Times, he was on a call with the president of Colombia as well. He's not going to stop. We have said this is like a vampire tasting blood. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like once you have a taste for it, once you have a taste for power, once you have a taste for unchecked power, you think that you're going to stop, right? Like, oh, they didn't stop me with Venezuela. I can go in there and I can yank the Colombian president out. I can yank Scheinbaum out of Mexico. I can yank this person out. Like, we have to understand that NATO was created in the post World War II era so that we could stop this kind of colonization, this kind of destruction. And the United States is now removing itself from the global stage, removing itself from global contracts, and basically saying, I dare you. I
Yep.
dare you to come for me. I dare you to challenge me. I was listening, Waj, also to people on the ground in Greenland and saying they're terrified. They're like, I'm having nightmares, right? Like this man doesn't respect us. He doesn't respect us as human beings. He doesn't respect us as sovereign people. And you see the tepid response from European leaders. So America has been an unchecked monster that has been growing in size and power for centuries at this point, and thinking that they were always going to remain on the good side right? The supposed good side of the moral arc. And now we've broken it in half. And Donald Trump is selling it for parts.
And speaking about, look, folks, there's always consequences. There's always blowback. We're old enough to remember the folly of the war on terror, but because we live in the United States of amnesia run by the world's worst people, we keep repeating these mistakes, especially in Central and Latin America. It never goes easy. Regime change is nothing new when it comes to America, right? Causing dissension is nothing new. Supporting the worst criminals and torturers and human rights abusers is nothing new. Literally engaging an empire for the sake of profit is nothing new. It always has a negative consequence. This is just the New York Times from today. Trump is making a power play in Latin America. China is already there. Who was the biggest consumer of Venezuelan oil? China. Who did Donald Trump threaten? Delcy Rodriguez, their puppet. You better not actually do deals with China and Russia, or else. Okay. Another headline: wary of investing in Venezuela, big oil heads to the White House. The amount of money, time, and political uncertainty trouble executives at large Western oil companies who plan to meet with President Trump today. No shit, because if you have an unhinged president openly telling the world, I'm going to go in this country and take their resource and sell it and keep the money for myself, what I just thought common sense is, if I am an oil company, why would I send my money and my team there and my private security firm in a hostile country where literally now, if I'm part of that country, I don't know, man, I might join a rebel group. Because if I know for a fact that you are representing the empire and you're taking my greatest resource and you're selling it and I'm going to sit there and take it, there's already rebel groups, right? So what we were saying
Yeah.
a couple of days ago, Danielle, is it puts a target on U.S. military, U.S. security, U.S. companies, right? Asymmetrical warfare. This is how people blow up tankers here and there, blow
Yep.
up a piece of infrastructure, kidnap someone, right? The massive blowback. And now these oil companies are like, wait a second, this might not be worth it. And then, I don't know if you saw yesterday, the New York Times interview with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Exclusive interview where they ask him, are you constrained by international law?
And he said,
No,
my morality is the
I'm
only thing that's
only
constraining me.
tell him what he said. Tell him what he said. The
He
exact quote.
said, he said, my morality is the only thing that is constraining me. I do not need to follow international law because I'm not doing anything that is wrong. And when pressed again, they were like, so you don't need to follow international law? And he was just like, not really. Like, I'm basically Donald Trump, an unhinged monster, has said that he is only limited by his imagination, folks. Like, that is what Donald Trump said in a 2-hour interview that is up now at the New York Times, that there is no power that Donald Trump is going to heed to. It is basically what he decides he wants to do, and that is how he's going to move.
If you told me without telling me who said it, that was a quote from Putin, uh, President Xi, MBS, even then I'd be surprised because I'm like, they're not that blunt. He just went out and said it. That is how dictators talk. He literally is. You know what makes me bash my head against the desk sometimes, Danielle, figuratively, is he's literally telling you, I'm going to murder you. I'm going to rape you. I'm going to rape your wife. I'm going to take your oil. It's for the oil, not for democracy. It's for the oil. When you can let them, I'm a rapist. I'm held been liable. I've bragged about grabbing women by the pee. I partied with a pedophile. I'm a person who, when asked if he's going to go to heaven, thinks, nah, probably not. I'm literally telling you that I'm not constrained by the law. I'm literally telling you that I believe I won the 2020 election, even though I lost it. I incited the insurrection. I pardon all the insurrectionists. I have no morality. I'm just lying and creating any bullshit I want. I'm going to go kill these Venezuelan fishermen. I'm going to call them narco terrorists. I'm not going to release any of the evidence. And by the way, I care so much about drugs. I'm going to openly just pardon one of the great drug smugglers, the ex-president of Honduras. Who's going to stop me? No one's going to stop me. In fact, I'm going to go further and tell you that not only am I going to take Venezuela's oil, I'm going to sell it at a market price and that I'll control it. That's what he said.
In a
And meanwhile,
private offshore
oh,
offshore account.
That was yesterday. And we're going to keep the money in a private offshore account because that's how governments operate, not gangsters in an international crime syndicate. And so I was thinking about this last night, Danielle, because this is what you know, when I'm brushing my teeth, normal human beings think of like this is what I think of when I brush my teeth like late at night.
God.
Uh, all this swirls in my head, and I want to ask you this: why does anyone think? And I'm not trying to scare anyone. We try
Hmm.
not to be hyperbolic. Daniel and I have been warning about this. People thought we were crazy, we're exaggerating. DEI, people of color. Oh, you're always like obsessed with race, all the shit they say about us. It's the world's worst. I told you so. We get no medals, no prizes. What we're saying is we called it. All right. And so here is me calling something, and I hope I'm wrong. And I've always wanted to be proven wrong about all of this. Why does anyone, Danielle, think Donald Trump is going to leave
I
peacefully?
have no fucking idea because he has told you now, I'm not bound by any rules. He has told you, I am building up my Gestapo. I'm going to send tax dollars wherever, with the American people's tax dollars, wherever I want, to whatever end I want. He knows that unless there is a major uprising inside of this country, he is golden. There are no restraints. The Supreme Court gave him complete and total immunity. He now Congress after the fact wants to write up a war powers. And I know that you say that it's good news, but I'm like, he didn't need your fucking permission slip in order to go into Venezuela and kidnap the president and first lady in the first fucking place. So you think that he's going to be like, oh, well, now that they've signed off, I guess I can't do anything further there militarily. Who gives a fuck? What are they going to do? Right? Like, what are they going to do? So this is the situation that has been created out of what happens when you neglect democracy, when you allow yourself to be wrapped up in the fucking narrative of wealth and patriarchy, and you think that like this guy is going to do something for you, right? He's going to validate your white existence in some way, shape, or form. And then you have, we're locked inside of a two-party system where one of the other parties is like, we need a new word for feckless because I don't know what the fuck to call them. Like,
Oh, feckless. I use that word.
listening to Jeffries was asked, Hakeem Jeffries was asked yesterday, are you going to do any budget maneuvers in order to lessen the budget of Homeland Security and ICE to halt their action in some type of way? He said, no, we're not focused on that right now. Motherfucker, what are you focused on? Your next fucking Biggie reference? Like, what the fuck are you actually focused on? I have no idea.
And what Danielle's talking about, folks, is a few folks like Chris Murphy, Representative Jay Paul, and others have said, wait a second, we don't need to fund this government. Funding's coming up, and specifically funding of DHS. They're like, shut down the government. They've asked us to fund DHS. No. And I have to ask you, and this is where, Danielle, I'm getting less pushback more and more because you and I have been very blunt about culling the Democratic establishment. You and I have been very blunt
Yep.
about not just the failures of Schumer, but Jeffries. And anyone who's been watching the Left Hook and Democracy-ish and Damn Digest knows for over a year we said these people aren't built for this moment. They're not made for this fight. We said they will fail you, right? And then you saw it with Zoran Mamdani in the last 2 months, and now you're seeing it. This is who they are. They're not going to change. They want restoration. It's part of the big club. Literally, there is no reason to fund this government to kill us. They want to fund the agency that murders U.S. citizens. And now some Democrats are getting really angry. They're like, shut this government down. And I'm like, yes, the government should have been shut down, but it was 8 centrists, moderates who caved, all paid off by the airline lobby. Schumer and Jeffries are perfectly fine funding DHS that is led by Kristi Noem that has rationalized her agents murdering a white woman. If they can murder Renee Nicole Good, they will murder you. And Chuck Schumer says, let's fund it because, this is what the community, the community wants. By community, the donors. Gavin Newsom given a layup last month. Will you tax the wealthy? They're part of a big
Nope.
club. All these folks, not all of them, but many of them passed the Lake and Riley Act, this draconian anti-immigrant measure. Gavin Newsom hosted Charlie Kirk and Steve Bannon threw transgender kids under the bus, threw homeless people under the bus in California. All these people are all into AI, like Jeffries. They still haven't embraced Mamdani, to which is I say, I'm, I'm, d- folks. I don't vote blue no matter who. Uh, I know the Democrats aren't the same as MAGA. You all know, you've heard me and Danielle. We warn about Donald Trump, MAGA. We've been on it. We call him a white nationalist regime. But these Democrats are perfectly fine with
Yeah.
ICE murdering us, detaining us, kidnapping us, with the oligarchy pillaging us, with AI data centers taking all of our resources. They're perfectly fine going after our children. They're perfectly fine going after Muslims. No censure of Randy Fine, who has openly said mainstream Muslims should be destroyed. No censure. But they censored Rashida Tlaib. They passed Zoran
They
Mamdani.
let fucking Al Green get tackled. Do you remember that? They let Representative Al Green, that was in January. They let this 70-something-year-old black man with a fucking cane that has like marched and fought for civil rights, was the only person to stand up and shout down Donald Trump. And his colleagues allowed him to be pulled out of the State of the Union and did fucking nothing.
Only because he called out Donald Trump's lies on Social Security and Medicare. And then several of those Democrats joined Republicans to
In censoring
censure
him.
Al Green. So I'm telling all of you, with Democrats like these, who needs MAGA? What? How do they help you, folks? Vote blue no matter who. They're perfectly fine funding the DHS. The DHS secretary literally called Renee Nicole Good an innocent mother a domestic terrorist and lied about her and said she was trained to weaponize her car. If you're telling me my taxpayer dollars have to go fund that, my future murderer, miss me with it. And these people refuse to fight. And the reason why they do it, like, it's not a conspiracy theory, folks. People are like, why are they like this? I'm here in Virginia, D.C. Danielle was here for a while. It's simple as this. It's a big club. You're not in it. They're in the club. It's incestuous. They're surrounded by yes men, corporate consultants, reeks who say, you're awesome. I am awesome. Yes, you are awesome. These people are freaks. They're freaks. They don't represent most Americans. No, no, no. It's just the rabble rousers. We're on the right path, right? We're on the right path. Will we get a good contract? We'll get a really good contract. Awesome. They go sleep with each other. They cheat on each other. They go to the same golf clubs. They go to the same synagogues, the same churches. They go to the same parties. Did you see Schumer
Yep.
hug
Hugging Marco Rubio. That image to me. So, folks, Marco Rubio, like 2 weeks ago, what was the news? Marco Rubio giving a press conference, seemingly coked out of his fucking mind, right? Like, just seemingly coked out of his mind. Giving a press conference. We know that he has had to walk back the statements about Donald Trump saying that they're going to run Venezuela, right? Oh, it was an operation, narco terrorists. Oh, we didn't need to provide any warning to the Senate, but we're happy to warn the oil tycoons. Sitting in front of television cameras, lying on a regular basis, goes to a meeting with Senator Schumer, and they're caught in like a broy embrace. And I'm just like, I'm sorry. Like, Schumer, are you awake? Are you alive? Are you with us? Are you seeing what is happening, or are you not? But my God, that image of the laughter and the hug and the embrace, and I'm just like, no, it is not vote blue no matter who. It is not just, oh, back Democrats, fuck Democrats. I want people who are progressive. I want people who say abolish ICE. I want folks that recognize that, like, we are wrapped in this system that is killing us in so many ways, from big agriculture to big oil to big pharma to fucking, all of these pieces are about trying to kill the American people, take away our liberties, and feed us this lie that this is the best that it can be. Like, we should all be happy and thrilled to be here. And I'm just like, let me tell you, the best thing that people can do is to be able at some point in your life to step outside of the US and see how other people are living, see how other people are existing, and recognize that you've been fed the biggest crock of shit in your life about American exceptionalism, about I swear to God, it's you look at the things that we've been told, that you got to grind yourself to death, that you got to be a cog in the machine of capitalism, that it's okay for police to murder you, that I blue no matter who, they are an accessories to the heist that Donald Trump is conducting right now on America.
I mean, keeping me and Danielle are two crazy black and brown cows who are mooing madness. Yesterday, I had Ezra Levin on. Ezra Levin is the co-executive director of Indivisible. Indivisible helped, in a way, organize the extremely successful No Kings rallies. The No Kings rally was attended mostly by a lot of white folks and elders, right? Ezra Levin was there with me yesterday. He said, he agreed with us. He said, abolish ICE. Why does anyone support this? Number two, he was with me. He goes, Democratic establishment sucks. The leadership sucks. Not all Democrats. He said primaries. He goes, this is primary season right now. Right now is primary season. He goes, get rid of them. He agrees with us. All right. So if you think me and Danielle are crazy, Ezra Levin of Indivisible agrees with us. Primary season, don't fund them, he said. It's the people. He says, I do not have faith in the Democratic leadership. He didn't say Democrats. He said the leadership. He goes, it's up to us to put pressure on them. That's what we got to do right now, folks. That's what we have to do right now. Do not be content with crumbs. Schumer, the establishment, they will not save you. And if you do not believe me, I tell you to trust the evidence of your eyes and look at the last 2 months and see what they did with Cheryl says, get Jen Budd on. I invited her a couple of days ago, and I think I inadvertently offended her because I had her on for something. She goes, oh, I'm not qualified to talk about that. And I said, oh, we could talk about a whole bunch of things. And then Jen's like, Waj, I don't want to just talk for the sake of talking. I'm like, no, I didn't mean that. These are the three topics I wanted to talk about. And then she didn't respond to me. So I would love to have Jen on. Yeah, you never know. There's like miscommunication, right? So
Yeah,
tell
I
Jen I
get it.
didn't mean anything by it. She's fantastic. Go listen to Jen. She's a whistleblower. Was formerly senior border patrol officer in San Diego, I believe. She's been talking about this for a while. But the point is, Danielle, is it's the moment is now, and it's up to us. This is it. Primary season's here. Right now, you have to put pressure. And as I was saying, is if you think we're being too cynical, I give you Zoran Mamdani. They still haven't embraced Mamdani. They were willing to embrace
And
Cuomo over Mamdani.
and
What
I'll
more do people
say
need to see, Danielle?
in the 8 days, 9 days now that Mamdani has been mayor of New York City, he has brought in universal, universal, what was it, for 2-year-olds, universal care, for toddlers on down, which is what everyone told us couldn't be done. Him and Hochul just signed legislation yesterday dedicating billions of dollars to the care of children um, in New York City, and it's day 9. So, it's incredible where we are because I believe that more people are conscious now than they have ever been at any other point in American history. It's just a matter of what is it going to take to create the kind of resistance and rebellion that is need to topple this regime. I know that you're talking about primaries and saying that now is the time, but I'm telling you, we ain't making it to November. We ain't making it to November. We are 9 days into this shit. We ain't making it to November.
And he ain't
And
he ain't leaving.
he ain't leaving. He ain't leaving. They ain't leaving. That's why they're talking the way that they're talking. That's why they're doing the things that they're doing, because they know that the only thing that is going to remove them is going to be an uprising. And that is what they are militarizing the ICE agents, recruiting at the rate that they're recruiting, pouring money into it because
Right.
they need the bodies. Because
Right.
right now they do not have the bodies to withstand the resistance of the masses. And this is when I say, when they begin to escalate, understand that they are also at their thinnest and weakest point. Donald Trump is trying this new wave of manifest destiny. It is going to stretch
It's
our
already happening.
military. It is going to stretch the resources. And so we have to be able as a people to take advantage of that with the national strike.
Death through a thousand cuts, folks. Is not going to be a haymaker. He's overreached on immigration. He's overreached on the economy. He's now overreached on foreign policy. He's overreached on healthcare. The numbers, I think, are far worse than people realize. You're seeing slight dissension. Uh, and the Epstein files, the biggest club is the Epstein files. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. That's the biggest club. It ain't going to go away. It's the one thing that unites nearly 80% of Americans is that they are not for powerful men raping girls. They want a release of the Epstein files. And the reason why they can't is because the president is all up in the Epstein files, and most likely he raped girls and young women with the most notorious pedophile on earth. All in. Everyone has a role to play. Everyone has a role to play. There's resistance
Yep.
upon multiple levels. Like we learned in Andor, there's not enough of them. They don't have the numbers, and all it takes is a cut, a leak, and eventually it becomes too much. Right? Drip, 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 flood. But as they're about to drown, they're going to become extremely dangerous. That's what Danielle is saying, and we're seeing it. These people will not leave without a fight, without an insurrection. They'll burn the entire world down if they have to. He is a desperate rat surrounded by reeks who are completely committed to this project and know full well they have committed crimes. If you don't believe me, Donald Trump told the ICC, we will sanction you unless you promise not to come after us or indict us. Who
Yep.
does that? A criminal does that. Folks, I'm going to have Olivia Troy on in a couple of minutes. She was in the first Trump administration national security advisor, and she'll tell you exactly what the plot is because Stephen Miller, she said, dreamt of bombing Mexico. She'll be on in a minute. I'm a few minutes late, but Danielle, shamelessly promote yourself to the 2,000 people watching.
Amazing. Thank you, my friend. Folks, you're watching this on The Left Hook and The Damn Digest. We are terrible capitalists. So if you do have a few dollars and you have the ability to become a paid subscriber to both of our channels, please do consider doing so. Never we will put our content behind a paywall. We believe that that's where critical thinking and what's left of democracy goes to die. So if you do have a few bucks, do consider becoming a paid subscriber. It helps us be able to do the work that we've been called to do, and we appreciate that.
Thank you all. Like Danielle said, we have a special on in the new year. It's a
Yes.
20% off special for a Damn Digest, 25% off for the Left Hook. I'm putting my link here. I already put Danielle's link there. It's $3.75 forever. It's $3.75 a month forever in this month. So if you've been watching us for the past 3 years and you have not become a paid subscriber, it's independent. This is how we feed our 800 children and 3 cats. And Danielle is able to enjoy some nice coffee, her one treat. If you don't have the money, yeah, the one treat, she goes, I'll take you, universe. Uh,
Right. Yes.
yeah, if he goes, I will not drink shitty coffee. I've earned this.
I've
And
earned this.
if you don't have the money, just be a subscriber. The hearts, the likes, the shares. I know this sounds ridiculous. It's how the algorithms work. Danielle has a YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel. Subscribing for free, liking the video. I know it sounds ridiculous. It's just how it works. The more you get it, the more they elevate this content and the more people see it. So at the very least, become a subscriber. If you have $3.75, go give it Danielle. If you have another $3.75, give it to me. Become a paid subscriber. Enjoy your weekends. We will be back Monday. Danielle, you're still
Monday.
traveling, right?
Yes, but back on Monday.
Back on Monday, folks. Be kind, be healthy, take a rest, and please, oh please, don't
Please,
be a
yeah.
fascist.
Don't be a fascist.
Thank you,
Bye,
Danielle. Enjoy.
Waj. Thank
Safe travel.
you. Thank you.